Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Here we are. Let's dive into video 2. Today we're focusing on, in the second video of this 3-part video series, to ditch the weight gain during this holiday season, is smart eating strategies for a guilt-free holiday. I want you to be able to enjoy the foods. I love the holidays. I love to enjoy the foods that my family makes and that we make around our house with our kids and our family and hit our traditions. But we have to have some smarter strategies as we go into holiday parties or go to our family's house, something where we can mitigate those effects like I talked about in the last video with some biohacks, but then also some just strategic ways we eat and approach our food heading into the season. So again, as you know, the holidays can be a challenging time to stay on track, but with a few simple eating strategies, you can enjoy, like I mentioned, this favorite dishes, but not worry about all those extra pounds. Let's jump into 4 or 5 of my favorite tips for eating strategies. The first one, volumetrics for satisfaction, understanding food volume. So with food volume is something where we can add in a lot of voluminous foods throughout our day to keep us full, to keep us satiated as we head into maybe those holiday parties or holiday meals. Something as simple as maybe if you're going to have a small breakfast, you're going to intermittent fast, as we talked on the last video, utilizing something like liquid egg whites, utilizing something like large doses of cruciferous vegetables that can give you something like a large plate of food, but it leaves you feeling satiated and full. We want to take that same strategy and go into that holiday meal with understanding volumetrics. So the best thing to do is looking for the foods that you have access to or on your plate or in that spread or whatever you're going to that are going to provide the most food volume that's going to fill you up the fastest. Now, I want you to enjoy the foods that you have, but also finding those foods, again, looking at cruciferous vegetables, looking at some of the baked sweet potatoes, or looking at some of the carbohydrate sources that don't have a lot of added, sugars or a bunch of other stuff to it. But then also filling up on protein. Again, the nice part about a lot of holiday meals for the most part is there's going to be a protein source, a turkey, a ham, something like that. So I encourage you to look for those foods that are high in volume. Leading with protein first to ensure you stay full. But again, that same note, like I mentioned in the last video, those meals leading up, if you really want to eat prior to going to these holiday parties or holiday meals, I would suggest diving into volume-rich foods. So maybe you're having a large green salad with a bunch of different fresh vegetables and lean proteins because you know later in that day you're going to go to that Thanksgiving meal, that Christmas meal that's going to have nothing but sweet treats or nothing but kind of processed style foods or the foods that aren't probably the best for us, but we do want to indulge in. So let's make sure those meals leading up to that are full of volume, full of fiber, full of protein, so we don't show up to the party, we don't show up to the holiday meal, and we're starving. Because we want to be full, we want to be satiated. When we go, yeah, I can't wait to jump in, but hey, I'm good after one serving, or hey, I tried some bites, I'm good, and then moving on. That's going to make a huge difference after the first of the year when you come back from the holidays, how you feel, how you look, and how you hit progress moving forward. The second one is the one plate rule. Right? Stick to one plate per meal. I know that sounds kind of basic, but ideally is really challenge yourself. Go in and have a good time. Have one large plate of food of what you're enjoying, but I recommend doing at least half of the plate full with veggies or protein like I just mentioned. So have the food that you want. Say, I'm giving myself one plate of this Thanksgiving dinner or one plate of this Christmas meal or whatever that is for you and your family and the holidays that you're celebrating. But make sure that that plate is either half protein, a bunch of turkey, a bunch of ham, or a bunch of whatever, or half of all kinds of vegetables. Maybe there's some roasted vegetables, maybe there's salad without a bunch of crazy dressings on it. Give yourself an opportunity to really fill up on those volume-rich foods like I just talked about at that meal. And then that second half of that plate, enjoy yourself. Grab the things that you make that you make at the house or your family makes that you can't go without during the holiday season, but only leave half the plate for that. That really will show up powerfully for you, and it doesn't look like you're trying to be the health nut or no one's going to be giving you a hard time for not eating. Okay? Number 3 is timing your carbohydrate intake for fat loss. So with that, focus on eating carbohydrates earlier in the day when you're more active. Hopefully you're planning your activity earlier in the day. The body is more likely to use those carbohydrates, that energy source, instead of storing them as fat. So look for saving the lighter protein-based meals for later in the evening. So depending on when you are having your holiday meal or when you're going, my family usually does them in the evenings. So again, I want to be active in that first part of the day. I want to utilize my carbohydrates if I'm being active and not overloading myself with carbohydrates in that last meal where I'm going to overeat and it's going to really disrupt me. There's a couple different strategies with this. You can save those carbohydrates first part of the day. And if you're not incredibly active, you're not doing a lot of activity or exercise prior to these meals, then also what you can do is utilize your carbs or save those carbs for the meals you're going to enjoy. Like my family does a lot of like candied yams and potatoes that taste amazing. So I can also in that first half of the day use those volumetrics, some egg whites, a lot of vegetables, a lot of lean proteins, and minimize my carbohydrate intake, knowing that that evening I'm going to indulge in carbohydrates. And again, pair that with an after meal walk just to really stabilize my blood sugar. And then some of the supplements we'll share in this next video, in video 3, will really help that. So again, eat some carbohydrates in the first half of the day where you're more active, and then minimize those in that evening meal or that holiday meal, or flip that, leaner proteins, lean meals, vegetables, fruits, protein, and produce leading up to that holiday meal. And then when you get to that holiday meal, enjoy your carbohydrates with that half plate meal, veggies, protein, and then fill the rest with whatever you like. And then lastly, having an understanding of some holiday drink swaps, and knowing that we know that choosing lower calorie alcohol, ideally alcohol is going to be excess calories with no nutritional value, so you'd be better off not drinking alcohol so you can enjoy more calories that have more nutrition from what you're eating in that meal. But if you're going to have some cocktails, you're going to have some holiday drinks, look for the things that are going to be lower cal, like the vodka or the tequila. The mezcal tequila is going to allow you to have a little bit more nutrition actually coming from something. It's going to have a higher antioxidant content, but it's also not going to come with a lot of excess sugar. So you could do that on water, with some sparkling water, with some ice, squeeze of lime, and that's really going to get you the cocktail that you want or the effect without overeating. So avoiding the mixed drinks, avoiding the margarita mixes, avoiding anything with those syrupy mixers in it, and maybe just indulging in some a vodka soda with lime and some salt, or focusing on something like a mezcal tequila that's going to give you some more nutrition. It's going to be easier for the body to mitigate those effects. And then pair that with some of the supplements we're going to talk about in video 3, that if we do choose to choose some alcohol, we don't want to be hungover and give our body some extra support, we're going to lean on some of those supplements I'm going to talk about in the next video. So again, I hope these 4 action items are some eating strategies and approaches you can utilize going into the holiday season that are going to show up impactfully for you in mitigating that weight gain, or keeping you from overeating or overindulging and feeling kind of busted up and guilty for what you did the day before in that holiday meal. So check some of those strategies out, try them at your next holiday meal, and let us know how they helped you. In the next video, we're going to dive into those targeted supplements I talked about to prevent the holiday weight gain and help support your body in this season, because a lot of things are coming into the system, food and drinks. We want to make sure our body has all the tools it needs and the vitamins and minerals it needs, so it can actively help to mitigate the downstream effects, so we don't show up back the first of the year and feel sluggish and tired and a few extra pounds on our sides. All right, we'll check in the next video.